Hey, y'all, welcome to Hard Things, the podcast where we talk about hard things in life and hard things in life. I'm Tiffany,
I'm Angie.
and we are the two weirdo friends that you don't have but definitely need that talk about anything with you. We will talk about weird stuff, we will talk about taboo stuff, we'll talk about fascinating stuff, we'll talk about our stuff, and if you let us, we'll talk about your stuff. We're here, we're back. We haven't done a podcast in quite a while. We kind of both had some life happen to us, a little heartbreak here and there that
True.
we had to navigate through, some adulting, which fucking sucks balls. But we're here
Understatement.
now, and we're going to come back to you audio only just for privacy reasons. So,
At least for now.
yeah, don't hold your breath on catching a glimpse of Angie's cleavage anytime soon. But yeah, we're here and we're glad that you're listening. And let's start talking about some hard things.
Yeah.
Let's get
So,
fucked up.
okay, I read this thing, and I think we briefly had touched on this like before we took our hiatus. So there was a girl, and she was friends with this other. I think they started off as roommates, and she said that she consistently kind of started distancing herself from like her friend because the friend would constantly cheat on their significant other. And so finally, this girl gets in a relationship and the boyfriend cheats on her. And so the friend basically thinks that she deserves it. So do you think, because there's so many different aspects of cheating, emotional cheating, actual physical cheating, and all of that kind of stuff. And so not condoning cheating, obviously, but do you think that this, I guess, acquaintance, because she said she's not trying to be friends with her anymore after, her being such a horrible person, but do you think that someone could throw enough cheating karma in the world that they deserve to get cheated on later?
Bro, 100% believe in karma. Also, like Jim Rohn said, you are the average of the five people you spend the most time with, right?
Yeah.
And that is so true. And like I'm super careful about who I spend my time with, and I would never spend my time with someone that was a compulsive cheater. But also, I think people forget that you are one of the people that you spend the most time with,
Right.
right? You're like in the five, and she was spending the most time with herself. And if she's a shitty person, that's how that comes back around to you. You put that energy out. I totally believe in energy 100%. I can feel things. I know when things are off. I know I'm so intuitive that I know things before people know things about themselves, which really sucks because then they think you're just crazy. But yeah, I think that she put it out there. Like she shot her jizz into the world, crazy, crazy cheater jizz.
Oh my god.
Um,
Karmic jizz.
Yeah, and it can't karmic jizz. We should trademark that 100%.
Oh my
And
god.
it came back to her. Why would it not? You cannot treat people like that and not have it come back to you. Firm believer, 100%.
What about the friend? So, like, I know she said basically, we were friends, we weren't best friends, whatever. But she progressively got like worse, and so the initial person was like, I stopped hanging out with her as much. Like, where do you draw the line as far as friends go if you see this person who you say you're friends
Yeah.
with and then they're just consistently cheating on people?
So for her, the line was easy to draw because they were just acquaintances and they weren't like besties and they didn't have like a life history. But I think like I'm trying to think if I've ever had a friend that was like a super cheater. And I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever been friends with anyone that was a cheater except for all the men I've ever dated.
But those aren't friends, those are relationships.
Right. So I don't know, and maybe that speaks to it because like it's not just about you choosing people that you hang out with, your five people, right?
Yeah.
People can sense you. And if someone is in your presence and they know that you have a hard boundary against something like cheating, you don't even have to say it. They can feel it and they know I'm not fucking with this person because
Right.
I like to do shit that hurts people and this person is not going to be okay with it. I don't want that shit getting involved in my life and interrupting my fun time.
So
And they
how do
will take
you
care of you so you don't ever have to worry about it.
So how do you not notice if you're vibing? How do you not notice if these guys that you have dated in the past are super cheaters?
So, like, I swear, all but literally all but one serious relationship I've ever had have cheated. Um, and I think so. Like, the two major relationships were my two marriages.
Mm-hmm.
The other two or three were short-lived relationships. No cohabitating or anything like that. They were
Sure.
just, yeah. But so both of my husbands cheated on me, multiple times each. One of them was he he would define himself as a sex addict only because I think that was his out. Like, I can't help it, I'm an addict. And here's how, oh my gosh, this is not what we were supposed to be talking about on this episode. But so my first husband, I did find out while we were married. So I want to say about a year and a half into the marriage, um, I was in his email with his permission to get something that had been emailed to him. And I saw an email from a woman that I didn't recognize and it had an attachment and it said something sexy in the subject. I don't remember what it was. And that was back, this is like AOL, right?
Oh
Before
yeah.
Google, it was just AOL. That
Yeah.
was all it was, right? So you didn't get a lot of that spam and porn stuff. Like that was non-existent at the time. So I knew it was like, and I opened it up and it was some lady's tits, a picture of her tits, and
Oh
like
no.
missing you. And then but it was a response, right? You know how it's a little arrow, like you've responded. So I went backwards to his sent and I found a picture of his dick that he had sent to her.
Oh.
So I knew in the first year of our 15-year marriage that he was cheating on me.
So that's an
And
interesting follow-up question. And why did you stay there?
yeah. So, and I confronted him and he denied it completely and he made me feel like I was crazy, totally gaslit me and just made me feel terrible. So, I stayed because we had a child and I was active duty. And when you're active duty, if you get divorced, you can't stay in the military unless you have someone to raise your child. Well, I could have lost custody. And it was made very clear to me by him and his entire family that if I ever tried to take the kids, they would destroy me.
Hmm.
And they had money and they were sue happy and they're still sue happy to this day. And when I did finally leave him after 15 years, he tried to destroy me and they helped him. So, yeah, I think that in that relationship, he completely destroyed my self-esteem and I was a little heavier because, I'm having kid after kid after
Sure.
kid. Um, and he and his families and all of his friends just constantly told me how unattractive I was and that I'd never find anyone else. And it was an abusive relationship on top of all that. But
Sure.
yeah, I didn't think I could go. I didn't think I could make it.
Well, for our listeners, Tiffany is not unattractive. So just know.
Just no. That's exactly what my mom would say, right? Like, you're the most beautiful girl in the world. I swear it.
Well, I'm telling you, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, fuck that guy. I hope he's listening, but he never will. Um, so yeah, he cheated on me multiple times and I just let it go because I didn't think I deserved any better and I didn't think I could get away from him safely with my kids intact and everything. And he really did. I had to start at ground zero in multiple facets of my life. When I left him, he took my house, he took my car, he took my job, he took my relationships, he took my family, he tried to take my kids, he took all my money, like the whole nine yards. So, yeah. And then the second marriage, this guy, this is a fucking trip. And you know this whole story because you were there when it was happening, when I
Yes.
found out, when I discovered it. Second guy, super charismatic, super outgoing, totally different relationship than any relationship I've ever had in my life. Came on very strong and very positive and very just head over heels, sweep you off your feet and I never had that. And I thought, oh, this is what people mean when they say, oh, when you find the one, you'll know. And I was like, this must be it because I've never had anyone say these nice things to me and stuff like that. So, well, that was his game. He was a
Mm-hmm.
salesman by trade and he traveled for work in the state, like in his car every day. He just drove all over Indiana and he would do some door-to-door sales. And so he was going door to door selling and just sleeping with anyone attractive that would sleep with him that opened the door. So I
Which
never
still
knew.
boggles me. Like, I can understand a little bit, like, back in the 60s and 70s where it's like, hey, ma'am, I got
Yeah.
this vacuum cleaner, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like if some
So-
guy came up to my door now and was trying to talk to me, I'd be like,
So here's the deal. Here's how it worked. He sold home security. He sold ADT.
oh, no.
And ADT, the company that he worked for, which is not an AD, it's not owned by ADT. It's a company that sells ADT. It's
Right.
weird how it works. Here's what they figured out. They figured out that the expensive houses they didn't have very good sales with, because those people would seek out their own security before you ever got to their door. Like
Right.
they didn't move in without security. And the super low income people didn't have any money for it. But there was this sweet spot of high low income or lower middle class.
Right.
They were in neighborhoods that weren't so safe, so they needed home security, and they were pretty uneducated. So typically, if he showed up and a woman was home alone, she wasn't the brightest.
Right.
She wasn't well to do, she wasn't educated, she was probably a little sleazy, so it made it really easy. I found 16 women, four of which who directly contacted me after everything went down. All of them were slutty, all of them looked like strippers, all of them spoke poorly, and like how we speak on the podcast, like I curse a lot and I use a lot of
Right.
slang. Like I have a robust vocabulary, so this isn't like how I talk. So
Oh, well, same.
don't get
I
me
mean,
wrong,
like,
like-
we're both straight A students, let's be honest.
right. So like I'm just saying, like I'm not one of those girls, just so you guys know.
I am, but it's fine. I still speak well.
Yes, and you can like write a thesis, and you know what I mean. Like we can do stuff like that. But these girls were dumb, for a lack of a better word. They were just fucking stupid, and they were all like just made poor decisions. One girl was like, I sold everything I owned to move in with him and help him pay the rent. And I'm like, you just met this guy 2 weeks ago. She was the girl that was living in his apartment while we were still married. So that's how he got him. He would find them on Snapchat, and one girl told me a website that I've never heard of, and I guess it's some underground meetup website. I can't remember the name of it, but so he would stay off of social media. He used a fake name. He used a fake birthday. He told people his wife had died. He didn't tell them how many kids he had.
This is a thing. This is a thing, for the record. So, since you brought it up, I don't even know. It was like probably a month ago. I was just miserable. And every now and then, and it's so smart marketing-wise, right? Like, Tinder is like, hey,
Hey, girl.
if you do not log in, your profile is going to go inactive. And then you're like, no, I'll just log in real fast.
So you have an active Tinder profile,
Yeah,
but you just haven't been on Tinder in a while.
for like ever. For like
Okay.
ever. But every time it says I'm inactive, I log in, and then I almost, like, I say maybe, like, whoever the first three people I'll look at and swipe one way or the other, and then I
Yeah.
get back out of it, right? But here's the clincher. So, whoever popped up, like, that day, I don't even remember. I was like, not bad. And I swipe right. Well, I get a message within, I don't know, an hour. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, hey, and he's like, can I don't even remember if it was Snapchat or some other, it doesn't matter.
It's always Snapchat.
Well, and I hate Snapchat because it's like so small.
I do too.
And then you can't, like, it doesn't stay for more than 24 hours unless you save everything. And if you're going to save everything, just text.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake. So, yeah, actually, I think that's what it was. He was like, can I get your phone number? I don't care because I'll block you. I don't care. So, he messaged me. And you know how on the iPhone it'll say, might be Tiffany, right?
Yeah, it'll make a suggestion.
Yeah. So this thing says something like, and of course I don't remember the name, so I'm making this up for the record, but it was something like, might be Brandon. And I'm thinking, the profile says Ryan, right? So I say to this guy, hello? Like, because, sometimes you get like the spam, text messages or whatever. And it wasn't immediate that I got a text after I had given this guy my phone number. And so he says, hey, it's Ryan, or whatever his name was, from Tinder. And I said, okay, what's the Brandon thing? And he goes, well, I put a different name on Tinder because girls are crazy.
Get out of here.
And I literally,
a girl that's crazy is crazy because of a man.
right. And I thought, well, hate to break it to you, you look crazy now, right?
Yeah.
Like I haven't done anything to deserve that. Like, I don't know you, right? Like, I was just trying to get to know you, Brandon Ryan, whatever the fuck your name is, right? And so, to me, I'm just like, trust is so important. Like, speaking of relationships, since that's kind of the road we're going on right now, communication, honesty, like, those things are, like, paramount in a good relationship.
The biggest problem, the biggest assault on trust in relationships isn't that people aren't honest. And in my experience, it's that people genuinely do not have enough self-awareness to know themselves. So when they tell you who they are, they're being dishonest because they don't know how to be honest, because they don't know who the fuck they are.
Well, I think that's part of it, but the other thing, I'll go one different. Kids are coddled so much now. And everyone
children.
Yeah. Well, no, I just mean generally. Like, it's like, I mean, like, as kids have been aging, right? Like, what's happening to society is what I mean. So, like,
they're not held accountable.
Nobody's held accountable, and everyone's so fucking offended. And because everyone's offended, people walk on eggshells because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
But we're not like that.
Right? No, of course not. And
I definitely get a lot of kickback from dudes because of that, because I will call you out and I will hold you accountable and I will say, this is not what you told me is true.
Right. And not only that, if someone said it to me, I wouldn't be mad. And so this is the issue. So it's like, if you don't want to hurt my feelings by telling me the truth because you're afraid I'm going to be mad, I'm going to be 10 times more mad.
Yeah,
because you fucking lied to me. Right. And so that's my issue. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I belong to a child-free group on Facebook, and it's disgusting how many times people in the group post, like, they have on their dating profile, child-free. There's a difference between being child-free and childless, right?
Right, one is a choice.
Yes. And so, like, if someone says, I am child free, I do not want kids, I do not want to date anyone that has kids, I don't want kids in my life, period. And some of these guys are like, hey, and they hide it. And so I think it's so stereotypical and hypocritical both that guys can be like, fuck these older ladies that have 4 kids, 5 kids, 3 kids, 1 kid, whatever, and they expect me to be the stepdad to these kids. And then the audacity, like the one thing today I saw was the guy said, well, my kid is a teenager, so he's basically my brother. Basically my brother. That's what he said, the dad. And he goes, I just wanted to be friends with you, and you don't have to parent my kid. It's like, how is it different that I
don't want the chance of your brother walking in on us when we're doing it.
Yeah.
I don't want your brother eating my leftovers in the fridge. I don't want your brother seeing my ass when I come out of the shower.
Right. I mean, it's just like, I don't understand the double standard, and I hate it.
People in that group discover that? Are they kicked out? Like, is that...
Well, no, it's... Well, no, it's more like people post, like, hey, this is a situation I dealt with where I said I was child-free.
People telling you their stories.
Yeah. And so it's like, how many ways do I have to say I'm child-free? And then the shaming that happens. Yeah. So it's like, the guy responded with, we can't even be friends. And the girl said, well, no, I don't want anything to do with anyone that has any kids because I don't want kids.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. It. And he was like, you're weird, bro.
I was out with some friends last night, actually. And the girl, I went to the ballet. And it's the Nutcracker, and there were kids everywhere at 8 o'clock at night. And her and her husband were very disappointed at how many children were there.
Yeah.
Even though it's the Nutcracker, but it's 8 p.m., right? That's a freaking 2-hour event. Like, why are these kids going to be out at 10 o'clock at night? But they were so just like, ugh. There's kids here. I just hate everyone's kids. Why do kids even exist? And she's a mom, and
Yeah.
like she helped me raise my kids, and like she gets custody if something happens to me.
That's
But I get it. Like it didn't used to be that way, but kids will fucking ruin your life now. Like if you're on an airplane, kids will ruin your life. You're at a
well,
restaurant, kids will ruin your life.
my
You're in a,
mom.
like going to concerts, people bring their
Oh,
kids. Everyone's getting high, and there's all these kids running around. Like I fucking hate it. It ruins my life.
it's very true. It's actually funny. My mom was coming into town for Thanksgiving, and her plane was delayed by like an hour and a half
Probably from a kid.
because this kid who was on the spectrum, which is unfortunate, that
Yeah.
like the kid had sensory overload, and the mom could not get the child to chill out. And
Yeah.
I do feel bad for the mother, but like on the other hand, I also think, and this is one of the things that my child free group says frequently, like, hey, can't there just be flights for child free people, right?
That's happening.
Yeah, and so there's also restaurants where it says we do not have a kids menu, we do not have booster seats or high chairs. This is
People
not a
don't even
kid friendly
care, though. They'll be
place.
like, it's okay, my kid loves filet. Like they're so dumb.
Well,
I did see there's an airline coming out with child-free flights, and people are up in arms. That's discrimination. You can fly any other fucking airline you want, dude.
Yeah.
You don't need to be on this one airline.
yeah,
And it's because they're mad that they can't fly child-free.
yeah, no kidding. Like, can't we just have the daycare flight where all the kids go on the one plane?
That's like putting the flu in a tin can and mobilizing it.
Or, oh no, you know how like you go to work and there's like the workplaces that have like the
Yes.
little child care? Like I think they have the overseas flights where it's like two floors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They should have like just the daycare room where
You
all
have
the
to pay
kids just
so
go
much
into the
money.
room.
It would be so expensive. It would be extravagant because
Well-
no one wants to fucking deal with other people's kids.
Well, but I mean, except people who like kids. And
But
then that
even
would be
people who like kids often do not like other people's kids because, like you said, kids are not raised like they were.
that's true. But I mean like teachers.
Back in the old days, even teachers, look how many fucking teachers are quitting every day. Like, it's wild. My daughter was in the teachers' college, going to school to be a teacher, along with several of her friends. 2 years in, we're at dinner, and she's like, all my friends are changing. They don't want to be teachers. They went because like the second year you have your internship at a school, and they were like, nope, and they noped out so fucking hard. She's got one friend who got her teacher's license, got a job at an elementary school, immediately quit and said, I will do anything but this.
Oh yeah, there was a thing that went all over social media that I saw where it said my daughter got or graduated and ended up having like $75,000 of student loan
Yeah.
debt to get her teaching license and her master's degree. She started to work and was barely living paycheck to paycheck and was miserable. So she quit, got a job as a bartender, and paid all of her student loans off and makes
Yeah.
more money as a bartender than she did
I've
as a
seen
teacher.
a story about a lady who did the same thing at Costco, and then this is more hard things ish. All the stories that have been popping up about teachers getting busted on OnlyFans, fucking making bank, and look at they're still teaching because they do love kids,
Right.
And they love teaching, so they don't quit even though they're making $1 million a year.
Well,
on
and
OnlyFans.
I think there's
And
a
I think that's kinda
misnomer.
sad.
There's a misnomer about OnlyFans though, and anyone who's listening, please correct me if I'm wrong because I honestly don't know. But I heard like not everything on OnlyFans is sexual.
So it used to be, that's how it started, but there has been in the past year just a huge awakening. Advertisers have finally figured it out that, hey, so many fucking people are coming here that is in an untapped market that we can. So, like, a lot of sports companies are doing OnlyFans for like fitness and stuff like that, like
Sure.
pro. Like, I think the first one I saw was like a pro women's wrestler or pro boxer, and she started one, but it wasn't for her. Her boxing company started it for her, and she
Sure.
works with them for content. So it's not sexual in nature.
Right.
Well, it's kind of like Patreon, but a little different.
Interesting. But like that's what I'm saying. Like at this point, OnlyFans isn't a bad word anymore.
Well, I think the problem is that people don't just discover that you're on OnlyFans. These teachers, while they were discovered by some fucking pervert dad, I'm sure,
Right.
they discover what they're doing. And the problem is these teachers aren't just on OnlyFans. They are creating sexual content on OnlyFans.
Right.
They're not, doing private fitness coaching. They're
Sure.
not teaching you how to cook a souffle.
Well, but here's the thing, and it kind of goes to this career, our careers, right? And or our dream, I guess. Like, I think people's personal lives should not be unless you're doing something illegal, right? So like if you're a teacher and you're banging a student, that's against the rules. Like it makes perfect sense that that's against the rules, right? I don't think people who are in helping professions like counselors or who are teachers or whatever, if they're doing something on their own, should get penalized unless they're hurting someone because that's their own personal life. So now you're taking
But
away.
they are hurting something. They're hurting expectations of their clients and their customers. And that's the problem, is that when you're my teacher or you're my child's teacher, I have an expectation that you will be prudent and you will be
Fuck that noise.
boy and you will be professional and you will be a lady and you will exhibit all the things that I want my child to be as a role model. I don't
Okay.
want my child to be sexualized.
Okay. We'll argue that then. Fuck that first. First and foremost, fuck that nonsense.
I get where you're coming from.
Right, because here's my thing, Mom, right? You teach them then.
But that's the other thing, is that like parents don't always
They don't
flat out
they
fucking
don't
talk.
want to. So it's
I
like
did not have the talk with my kids. Their American Girl doll, who I'm sure you're all familiar with, they actually make a book, and it's called All About You. And when both of my girls turned 11, I gave them the book, and it talks about your bodies and all that stuff. And that's as far as I got. I was so uncomfortable with it.
But that's my
I didn't-
point. Like, think about it, like during COVID, right? Everyone had to help their kids do homeschool and all this other
Yeah.
stuff, right? And so it's like, I don't want to teach. That's what they, like, all over social media, you saw
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah,
parents
yeah.
and they're like, I don't want to teach. This is hard. I don't want to be with my kids for 10 hours a day. And
Because
then
your kid doesn't listen to you, your
Yeah.
kid listens to a teacher.
Right. And so, how dare you be
Yeah.
shitty with me because I want to show my feet on OnlyFans or whatever the fuck people are. We'll just use that one as an example, okay? Because I know people make a lot of money with their feet, okay? So we'll just do a low key one, but you can extrapolate from there, right? But even so, if your kid is not watching the person's OnlyFans and you found it, first of all, how did you find it, sir? Right?
That's the thing.
And then-
no one is saying, ew, you're a fucking pervert. Why are you on OnlyFans looking at women?
Yeah. So, I mean, the hypocrisy and the judgment when it's like, if you don't like it, everybody goes back to reality therapy. Everyone has a choice. I have the free will to do whatever the fuck I want. And then you can either be my client or not be my client. That's your choice. And I think for teachers, it's like if they can't make enough money because your school district won't pay them the proper amount to keep their classroom stocked with things and to keep your students, or your kids learning their ABCs so they're not held back in illiterate fucks, then let her go to okay. I'm not even going to get political on it, but I'll use a good example, okay, regardless of my political beliefs. Someone had said to me, oh my God, Bill Clinton got a blowjob from Monica Lewinsky, right? And I said, didn't the deficit go down more than any ever, like pretty much ever in the history of the world?
I got the biggest pay raise I've had in my entire adult life under the Clinton administration.
Okay, and I'm not even saying, oh, I'm liberal or Democrat or Republican or whatever, because at the time I didn't give a shit. I don't even remember. It was a long time ago,
We were
right?
in mid-20s.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I think I just started to vote back then, right?
Yeah.
And to me, my thought process was, whatever keeps the president happy so that the economy is okay, good on him. I don't give a fuck, right? And so,
Well, and it's like, if you flip it and you ask them, well, John or Bob or Mary, when was the last time you had a sexual encounter with a human being? How dare you?
Right.
You should be fired.
right.
That's disgusting. What's disgusting isn't that Bill Clinton got a blowjob from Monica Lewinsky. it is disgusting because she was very young and he was very old. And that
Oh,
is gross.
yes. I just meant
But-
generally. Whatever
Yeah.
makes people do their job. Now, okay. He
What's
also.
disgusting is that he fucking got caught.
Yes.
That's what's disgusting.
Well, but not only that. Because take that aside. First of all, it kind of goes back to what we were originally talking about with the cheating. Like, shouldn't be cheating. Okay, so that's wrong. But essentially, if you're doing your job within the parameters that your job says you have to be doing them, right? And you're doing well at it, fuck everybody else. Like, I think, like, it kind of goes back to the tattoos and piercings. When hospitals were like, you have to cover up your tattoos and piercings. I will very soon have my license to be a therapist. I am not a worse therapist than someone else that doesn't have any tattoos. And they're not better than me because they don't have them. And so, similarly, there were surgeons and family
Well,
practice
you see
doctors.
the same thing in the police and the military where they had to relax their requirements on tattoos because less people were joining because they had tattoos. And they
Yeah.
were like, fuck you guys. If I can't be in with a tattoo, I'm not coming.
Well, and not
now
only
they
that,
hire cops because they have tattoos.
right? And similar, it's like you can't even give blood. So
Yeah.
we're in a national blood shortage, and part of the reason we're doing that is because these places won't let gay people or heavily tattooed people donate blood. It's ridiculous. So it's like, okay, I guess you guys are gonna die. Like, you don't want to have any blood. We're humans, just like. And if there's testing to make sure that your blood is safe, then what does it
That's the
matter?
problem.
What does it matter, right? And so I think that the amount of regulations that are happening just make since we're talking about hard things.
I think too, like you said, it doesn't make me a better therapist or a worse therapist or anything. I think it does make us better though. Like, I have proven to you I can sit still for hours
Yeah.
in pain
Yeah.
and not say a fucking word and not flinch.
Yeah.
And I can live with the consequence for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like, that says something. It says a little something.
I think so. And also for work ethic, it's like I can tolerate really obnoxious things
Yeah.
for an extended period. What was the longest you sat for a tattoo?
Oh wow. Probably like 6 or 7 hours.
8.5.
Yeah, that's too many. I was supposed to be there longer, but I had to leave because the swelling got so bad. I have baby skin.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, it's cheaper for me to go open to close, and so I would get a hotel room in the area because I have to drive about 2.5 hours to go to my tattoo shop, and so I would go and be there when he opened, and then I would sit all day, and whenever he took a break, I would take a break, and I
Yeah.
just sat and read my Kindle.
Order some Jimmy John's, call it a day.
Yeah. Well, actually, got Subway on my way back, and then I crashed. Okay, so going back to the cheating thing. So this is, what about if you're single and the other person is in a relationship?
What do you mean?
So there have been different scenarios of this, right? Obviously, where it's like, okay, I'll give you a small example. I started kind of talking to someone because it was like fairly new, and I didn't find out until way late that he was also seeing somebody else, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
What do you do then?
Yeah, and so and at that point, I'm invested,
Yeah, you're attached.
right? And so it's like, well, now what? Because usually, had I known like within a week or so of it starting,
Yeah.
I would have been like, I'm out. Like this, no.
Well, and then so typically what would happen in that, and I've been in that situation, where when you find out, there's usually some bargaining that they try to pull on you. Oh, I'm gonna leave, or we're not. It's just on paper. It's not.
Oh yeah, no, this was hardcore. Like I found out because a friend of mine messaged me and said, you might want to look at the newspaper. And I found out he asked her to marry him.
Oh my gosh, are you fucking kidding me?
No. And so I was
It's
like,
not like he was with her and the relationship was bad and
No.
oh my.
and at that point I had to assess my own shit, right? Because I'm like,
But I would be like, well, why didn't he ask me to marry him?
fuck that noise. And actually, I wouldn't have. You know how I feel about this.
Right.
Like, I would not have. He was one of those people, I don't know if I ever told you, Because I don't really sleep next to people.
Yeah.
I have an aversion.
You sleep on top of them. I know how you
No,
feel.
no, I make people. I don't do sleepovers. They go home. I can't. But he whistles.
There's a cage next to Angie's bed.
No way.
Get in the cage.
No, you get a complimentary beverage and you go home. I would say I don't do sleepovers, I do play dates.
There you go.
Would be closer. Yeah, like I tried because I really did care about him. And he whistled well instead of snoring. So he would like take a deep breath in.
That is enough to make you leave.
Well, no, I literally I shook him and I said, "Get up." And he's like, "What?" I said, "You're whistling." And he was like, "Go to sleep." I said, "I can't because you're fucking whistling." And he's like, "Just try." And I said, "I'll kill ya." Because I'm such a light sleeper, right? And so I had a fan on and everything, and I was like, "You need to go," right? Like it's just so bad. But like even that, there's no fucking way, right? There's just no way. And what is so funny, because usually, because I've been in that situation before, and I just cut ties. I was like, I'm not doing this, right?
That takes a lot. It takes a lot of a lot of everything, a lot of strength, a lot of willpower, a lot of energy to just cut ties when you care about someone.
Oh, I'm like Edward Scissorhands. Snip, 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 snip. But here's where I'll say I'm not proud of it, but also I was 25, 26, something like that. I was like, okay, don't care. I'm in it. I don't care.
So he was now getting married, and you were his mistress.
Kind of, but like not even, because I mean, I pulled back. I'm not going to pretend like I was
Did he know that you knew?
Yeah, because I yelled and I was pissed.
And what did he say?
Sorry. Like, I mean, it wasn't there. Like, he was like, I don't remember exactly, and because I don't care, right? Like, you know how like your memory sticks in your brain if it's like super important, and it just goes to show that it wasn't, right? But I feel like maybe I'm making.
Get married?
Oh yeah. Oh
he
yeah.
Got married and you stayed with him.
Well, no, he got married after I had moved here, and this is funny actually. They got married. I'm pretty sure they got married on my birthday.
That's jacked up.
It was her. I heard about it, so I don't know that this is hearsay, okay? I don't know that it's true, but I heard from my roommate who said that she saw her, the girl, and that the girl said to my old roommate, "Tell your roommate I married so-and-so on her birthday."
She knew.
Oh, 100%. Because her and I had an altercation before they got married, because she got in my face. She was like, "I heard you said you were sleeping with so-and-so." And I was like, whatever. And then I was like, "You're not allowed to be in here when he's working, so you should go." And she got mad. And she's like, "You're lying." I hate when people call me a liar, because you can call me a cunt, you can call me a bitch, I don't care. Don't call me a liar, because I'm not. Right? And so basically, I said, "Yeah, that's how I know your house is brown and you have leather tan sofas." And so she got really mad, and I said, "Oh,
your bed smells like Fritos."
Yeah, it's like, oh, the other one was, "I really like the interior of your Jeep going through the drive-through car wash."
Oh my god.
Shouldn't like it. So, yeah, that was a thing. And then she was removed because I worked with this person, and there was a rule at the bar that like if you were in a relationship, they couldn't come when you're on shift.
Yeah.
And so she basically was like, "I'm marrying him, blah blah blah." And I said, "Good. I don't want anything that you want." I said, he goes home at 6:00 in the morning and goes to sleep, and then you wake up and you're away all day, and then by the time you get home, he comes in and I see him and we have fun, and then we go to breakfast, and then he goes home and he goes to sleep. I don't want what you have. I want what I have, and you don't have that.
That's interesting.
And so, like,
but you're right. But I don't think that's the norm.
Well, and to me, it basically, if you're looking at,
I do want what you have with him is the norm.
Right. I didn't. And to me, like looking back now, knowing all of these different terms of things, we were basically in a polyamorous relationship because she got everything
Everybody knew.
everybody knew, and everybody got exactly what they wanted, right? Because she wanted the stability in the house and the family, right? And
You wanted the spontaneity.
and I wanted the fun and the adventure and the sex. Like that's what I
You
wanted.
wanted both.
Yeah, and I didn't want to have the house and the sleep. Fuck all that noise.
So how long did it go on like that?
Oh, that's what's funny. He still calls me.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
What does he say? What do you talk
It
about?
it's remember that time? Yeah.
Does he try to make plans to see each other?
No.
That is so weird to me.
No one ever leaves me alone, Tiffany.
I know. That's what's so weird to me is like when I leave a relationship, I never hear from that person again for the rest of my life.
Because it always ends toxic, and it doesn't end toxic for me.
How is that not a toxic ending?
It was like, woo, nice, bye. Like that's that's how I leave everything.
I don't know. That's fucking wild.
And it was funny because originally she had said to me like, stop calling him. I said, if you look, he calls me. Not only that, he has my phone number memorized.
Yeah. So she deletes the contact.
Well, no, she's changed his phone number like 14 times, and somehow he always calls me. It's because he has my phone number memorized because we're old, and that's what we used to do
it. Yeah. I still know like the house I lived in second grade's phone number.
Yeah, I mean, I remember but like, what I think is so funny is that was like the one and only time where I'm like, nah, I don't care, right? But I wonder if there's like a vibe that guys get, because that's the one thing that makes me my brain wants to explode. Because it's like, maybe you are ready to forget about that one guy that you maybe like gave a piece of your heart to, right? And then you think, I'm done with that fucker. And then it's like, hey, babe, just thought of you today.
So, yeah, and so here's my problem with that. Well, first of all, like you said, that one guy you gave your heart to. For me personally, I give everything to every guy, and that's a fucking problem.
100%.
I love really hard. And when those motherfuckers come back, because I believe in energy and karma and fate and
fate, where's your choices if we're all doing fate?
I know we're choice theory, but I still believe in the magic of all of that. So if someone were to come back to me and send me that message, that like the most recent relationship I had, it was on again, off again, on again, off again, and because that happened. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, missed you. Hey, thought about you. And to me, the universe is sending me a message. The universe will never put anyone in your path that isn't meant to be there.
Fuck that noise.
Like blah 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 blah. And that's how your heart feels, right? If you ever cared about this person, because that brings back, muscle memory of dopamine and endorphins and oxytocin.
You got to use it different. So, what's your love language?
That's fucking. I have all of them.
That's horse shit. That's horse shit.
The way that I give them is very like my giving and receiving are different.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. What is your receiving love language?
Quality time and words of affirmation.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like words of affirmation, this should not shock you, right? Words of affirmation is my thing. And so I take it totally narcissistically. Because dude calls me and he's like, hey, remember that time where we blah, blah, whatever the hell it was, right? Went to Starbucks that one time and then, we drove around and whatever. Or you are the best at XYZ. Thank you. Have a nice day, right?
Yeah, but if that's your love language and that's how you receive love, now you just got love from that person and now you're fucking all fucked up.
I'm not. I just get it's like, when people say, oh, wonder how your head fits in that room because you're so blown up because of your ego, right? And so it's like if your heart exists in two boxes, I hear the positive feedback. Like, you are good at X, right? And I'm like, yes, I am. Thank you. Remember that for all of your life. Have a nice day. Right. And so that is,
Wonderful.
and then I live on that for days. Right.
Yeah,
Because,
because if that happened to me, I'd be like, well, if that's true, then why did you throw me away? Why didn't you want me? There's incongruence in between you saying that I miss you and I loved you and you were the best at this and remember
oh,
that
no
time,
one says they loved
and the
me.
fact that we're not together.
No one says they loved me because but that's the thing. My boundaries have always been very clear. Right. And so it's like, here is a timetable that this is going to be going on. This is expectations and boundaries. And so when people are calling me and they're like, I miss you, I miss this thing or these experiences or whatever. And haven't you ever looked back? Excuse me. Haven't you ever looked back and like missed the experiences and not the person?
When I look back, like, if I really, really tear it apart and dissect it, I don't know that I ever liked the person.
This is
And
why. This is
and
why
yeah,
you
I
need to
think
just
that
go
my
bang some people with no feelings.
yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's not very safe to do that. It's
Like literally or emotionally.
both, both, physically, emotionally, both.
Okay, so could you disassociate? Could you essentially like do a role play where you got to be this other person? We'll just pretend like you're channeling me and you're going to go out and you're going to be a different person to experience this thing without the
I
strings.
can't. I
You
can't because I think I'm like I have to have an emotional connection to a person to be with them.
you
I cannot
say
become aroused without that.
that's not true. Because and this is something that was interesting. A supervisor in the counseling program had said this, and so it was an interesting thought because we were talking about trauma, right? And she said, often the argument that people are saying about like sexual assault, right, which is not good, is, oh well, they said no, but they had an orgasm, so I mean,
Yeah.
did they really mean no? Well, yeah, they really meant no, fuck you, right? But our bodies will do whatever is natural.
But I want to enjoy it in my head too, not just in my vagina.
Well, but I'm saying, like, who's to say, because you haven't experienced it this way, that you can't start, like, okay, here's a perfect example. Frequently, women tell men, I need to be aroused in my head so that this is an enjoyable experience,
That's a female
right?
need, yes.
Okay,
That
but
is
here's the thing.
universal.
So you're doing that in here first, in your head first, and then you're waiting for your vagina to catch up, right? So who's to say you can't start with your vagina and get your head to catch up?
I don't know. Also, I
Ah,
think also, like you mentioned, sexual trauma. I have a history of sexual trauma,
right.
and that might be a barrier to that
That
experience.
would be a more reasonable response than the one you gave of I can't. Because, like, that's at least legitimate, right?
It's
Because
not just I can't, it's I don't want to.
that's okay. But that's, see, don't bullshit me, right? Like, at least that's the truth. Don't lie, right? Because not wanting to is real. Not saying you can't isn't the truth,
I
right?
don't, but I feel like I can. I feel like well, also, like, coming off the end of a relationship, I don't know if everyone has this, but I have this thing where when I come out of a relationship with someone that I deeply cared about, I cannot, my brain will not allow me to be attracted to any other man. Like, even like if it's someone that is conventionally attractive that everyone thinks is a gorgeous man, my brain won't let me be attracted to it because it still sees this one face as the only source of attraction for eternity. And that takes a long time to fade. So, like, right now, I don't think I could because there's only one face that I see when I think of attraction.
And that's a douche. That's what that is.
So,
I'm biased.
So
Oh,
I don't know.
well,
I don't know.
it's
But I
like
do think the sexual trauma part does play a big role in it because like for me personally, the sexual trauma was within a marriage. So like a spousal rape.
sure,
And in that you do have to, like, I did have to continually have sex with this person that I didn't want to, that I said no to,
right,
and I didn't have a choice. So my brain and my axons and my neurons have been trained to disassociate during that
sure.
experience. So I don't know if I had the plasticity left to reverse that
EMDR.
with someone. And you know how hard it is to find people to do EMDR? Like I know so many people get, certified. EMDR is eye movement desensitization. It's a therapeutic technique where while you're revisiting traumatic memories, your therapist will utilize movements or sounds to
Bilateral.
biofeedback. Yeah,
Bi.
bilateral biofeedback
Yep.
to get your attention off of the traumatic memory and try to unglue it from your nervous system
And rewire it into
and
a
rewire
positive.
it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's a super hard, you can find someone who's certified in EMDR because you do have to get certified, but that doesn't mean they're good at it or that they've had a lot of practice
That's true.
or that they even believe in it because you see now a lot of therapists will get shit just to have letters after their name to make them more marketable.
Well, that's true. However, because you're still a student, you could essentially get. There is someone who did like weeks and weeks of training, and she very much believes in it. That works at the student counseling center. So you could very much call her, generally speaking. But yeah, it's interesting. And because we're coming on to the end of our time here, because we always have so much fun. I wanted to ask one more general question, Tiffany, and then we can wrap it up. Would you say, and we can end up spending an entire other episode on this, but I wanted to like hit it and let people reflect for next week or whatever. Would you say in your relationships that you are more of like the June Cleaver gender role, or do you not subscribe to the traditional feminine gender roles in your relationships?
So just so you guys know, this whole episode was supposed to be on gender roles. And here we are in the last couple minutes finally touching on gender roles. So
I feel like the cheating was a really good topic to start with, I think.
no, it was, and we have a lot of experience in that, so we could speak to it. So gender roles, this is really super shitty because my personality and at my core and who I want to be, and this is all over TikTok. Everyone's talking about women in their masculine and women in their feminine, right?
Oh,
This
yeah.
is like so trending, but it's trending because it's valid and it's true. And so in my core, in my being, and if you've ever spent time around me, like physically, you'll see, like I do always wear makeup. I do always have my hair done. I do try to dress nicely. My house is very kept. I bake. I was a Girl Scout troop leader. I did all the things. I am June Cleaver. I want to be June Cleaver.
Okay.
That is who I want to be. However, I have never been allowed to be June Cleaver because every man that I have picked has not been able to be Mr. Cleaver. So not only do I have to bake and lead the Girl Scout troop and look presentable and keep a clean and tidy home and send handwritten thank you notes, a la June Cleaver, but I also have to be the breadwinner, the one that makes all the money, the one that pays all the bills, the one that provides, the one that mows the lawn, the one that fixes the car. I'm both. So one person asked me once on a date, we never went out again, it was a one-time thing, and he goes, this was a couple years ago.
For the record, his name is Ward.
Yeah, Ward Cleaver. Oh my God, it totally slipped my mind. I knew that. He asked me, he goes, so in a relationship, like, what do you think you bring to the table? And I kind of laughed, and I felt
table?
That's what I said. I said, motherfucker, I bring the goddamn table.
Did
and then,
you really?
Know what happens? I set it, and I fill every cup. That's what I bring, and that's the
Okay.
problem. Is I've never fucking met a dude that can do any of it. I've never met one that brought the table. I've never met one that brought the place setting. I've never met one that brought the fucking food or the beverages. I have to do it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that keeps happening to me, because it's not like, oh, well, you're picking the wrong men. Bitch, these are the only men that are put in front of me.
Right.
In the entire pool that I'm exposed to, they're all the same. Those men are fucking married. They're taken.
Well, and it's a struggle for me because, like, I saw a podcast that I really enjoyed, and it's not typical for women to like this podcast. But the guy basically said to these girls who are like OnlyFans,
Sure.
like content creators, we'll say, he was like, "Oh, do you think you're traditional and or do you think there's a pay gap or whatever?" And she's like, "Yeah, things are not equal. It's not fair, right?" And he was like, here is the top 10 jobs that pay a good amount of money, that would pay whether you're a man or a female. Can you read them out loud?" And she's basically like, plumber, construction, right? Plumber, construction, laborer, right? Basically like welding, things like that, right? And he's like, "Go do those." And she's like, "Ew, I'm not doing that."
I don't subscribe to that at all.
But here's the thing, like, I'd do it if I could, right? Like
and I do it. Just a couple months ago, someone that I knew that owns a roofing company was asking someone, "Can you come help me do a roofing job? And I don't have enough people." And they're like, "Oh, I can't." And I said, "I fucking can."
Yeah.
I spent 8 hours on that motherfucking roof.
Yeah.
And I learned how to do roofing that day, because guess what? I don't know how to do roofing, and that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And I can make some money, so why the fuck not?
Well, and when I was 16, and my mom, actually, it was earlier than that, my family still makes fun of me to this day, and I'm 41 years old. I wanted to be a blacksmith.
That's cool though.
I wanted to be a
That's
blacksmith.
very Renaissance.
Oh
like,
my God, you have no
yeah.
idea. I wanted to do it so bad. And to
It's
this
a sexy
day,
thing.
if someone was like, "Hey, guess what? I got blacksmith like classes for," I would fucking go, okay? So this is where it's confusing for me, because
Blacksmith my chastity belt, please.
oh my God, no, those are no joke. We already talked about, I know a guy that wears one. But seriously, here's a funny example. I was taking the trash out at my dad's, and my neighbor said, "Oh, your dad's letting you take the trash out?" And I thought, listen, I can take the trash out myself. I don't want to, but I can, right? And so, like, to me, that's where I live. In the I don't want to, but I can. And so
I live where I have to. I don't want to, but I have to.
well, and if you have to, you do it. You know what I mean? But, like, I think I've lived alone so long. There's a thing that went around way before TikTok existed, where it was like, she doesn't need you, but she wants you. Be the guy that she wants, right?
There's so
And
much more value in that, because you know that she wants you for you and not for what you can provide her.
yeah, well, and I don't need someone, like, it should be a team, right?
I don't need it either, but it would be nice to know that I don't have to provide it.
Right.
Because now I'm in the situation where it's like, is this guy with me because he likes me for who I am? Or is he with me because of what I do for him and what I provide?
Well, and it's fine to be with someone because of who they are and what they provide, if it's equal. Like, if like the love is equal, if the household chores are equal, like that's where my equality wants to be, right? Like, I don't care about wages. You know what I mean? Like, I do hope that I would be able to be paid what I'm worth, regardless of the job. But I am not against going and working on a car. I just can't, because my eyes are too bad. So it's not that because I find it interesting. I mean, Fast and Furious is my favorite franchise next to Harry Potter, like, ever. And so if I could be a gearhead, I totally would. I just can't fucking see. You know what I mean? So it's like, I am totally for that. But I also like similar, like I don't wear makeup all the time, but I get my nails done and I have my hair colored, and I wear dresses, but I wear dresses not because I want to be female. I wear dresses because they're fucking comfortable, and I feel really bad for dudes who can't walk around with their
But they can, can't they?
Well, now they can. But it's just
And especially like the whole like kilt movement. There was a big trending with people wearing kilts.
hanging out with their wang out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
But wait a minute, hold on. So I feel like you're the exact opposite, where you want to be Ward, but you always end up being June because the guys are the ones calling you and doting on you. So you think you're Ward, but you're not.
I don't know. I feel like I'm way more masculine, for sure. And the guys that are attracted to me are way more feminine, personality wise.
You mean emotionally?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
I feel like Ward and June both live inside of me at their highest potential.
That's probably true, but I feel like that's a lot of us. And what are we most comfortable showing to the world, right? And because, like, legit, I took cooking classes. I can cook. I don't want to, right? Like, I don't want to. And that's where I would love to be Ward. Like, let me just come home and you have the dinner cooked and you do the dishes. I don't even want to do the dishes. Nowadays, it's like, well, honey, if I cook all day, then you got to do fuck that noise. I'll go out to eat because I don't want to do it. So I just think it's not necessarily whether you're going to be June or Ward. It's if you have a conversation, and it goes back to the communication piece. If you have a conversation with your partner and you agree to things where it's the give and take, then I think it's okay. Like, my dad's girlfriend made a comment about how, like, my parents might have stayed together if my mom went to work and my dad got to stay home with the kids.
Yeah.
Because my mom, in my opinion, wasn't as motherly as I think we would have preferred. And my dad was very, like, nurturing. And I think that she was more about keeping up with the Joneses and having the money and all of these things. And I think had she decided, because they when I was born, it was like one of us has to finish school.
Yeah.
I guess it's you. And it was my dad, right? And I think had they made a different decision, everybody's life might be different. I don't know. I don't know. But I think being able to have that kind of conversation where it's like, what do you want? Because I know actually a handful of guys that are stay-at-home dads and the wife is the breadwinner and they're very happy. And so it's not about
experience. So like both my first husband did not work for many years and he did stay home. My second husband was laid off for a period of time and lost lots of jobs and stayed home for a period too. And my experience has been that in those relationships, the men rarely do what they agreed to do or do anything to the level that the woman would do it if she were in the same position.
Well, and that's the thing. That's where the conversation comes in because, like, my dad liked to cook and, like, just be, like, garden and things like that because he enjoyed being in the yard, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, and my mom just didn't like to do it. And so I think that if you have a conversation, you're like, hey, you want to be home? Okay. Well, if you're home, this is what home looks like. You know, it means...
Yeah, but then when you try to hold them to that, that's tough because now you're nagging and now you're belittling them because you work and they stay home and you don't see that they have as much value and you don't know all the stuff that I do all day. And I do fucking know what you do all day because I've done that shit, dude. Like, I've taken care of a house and raised a family. Like, I know what it takes. You're not fucking doing it. And they never can admit it. Never. They will turn that shit around on you so fast every time.
Most.
How hard it is for me.
That's
every time.
We can't put people in a box because, like I said, Not everybody is exactly the same. There's always one fucking asshole who ruins it for everybody, right? And there are women that are exactly like that. I had a guy friend of mine that used to come and sing karaoke, and he had 2 kids with this girl, and she wanted to stay at home, and she did nothing. Nothing. She just didn't want to work. And he was like, hey, I have 2 jobs. I take care of the kids. I come home and I then cook for the kids. What the fuck are you doing? And so for every guy, there's a woman who does it too. And I think the key is finding the person who says what they mean and means what they say, right? And so it's like if you're going to sign on to a partnership, everybody should be on the same
The
page.
problem is like you might not find out that they don't do what they say and say what they mean for years into the relationship. People are shifty.
Yep.
So
That-
you could be with some 3-4 years, and then all of a sudden you find out they just manipulate, and they're not who they say they were, and they don't do what they say they're going to do. That's
And
the problem.
you're
is
right.
People have gotten really good at putting on a mask.
See, that's true. And that's why I live in Rapunzel's tower with all of Sleeping Beauty's thorn bushes and the dragon in the moat. Because, like, by the time you get to me, sir, you've proven that you give a shit. And
That's
that
why you're June Cleaver.
and but this is the thing. Nobody's made it here yet. And so I'm good. And that's where it's so funny because, like, I guess that's where I would want to leave. That's where I would want to leave this episode. As human beings who are social creatures, are we really able to just be like, no, I'm good, and be alone? Tune in next week, right? I would love to hear.
Down as she basks in her loneliness.
I'm yes, basking. Well, because it's like I see all of the stuff coming. I saw your relationship end coming. I just waited. It's like that it's like Jack on Will and Grace. Told you so. Told you so. Right? Like that's how I felt. And so, I mean, I even said to our mutual friend, give it some time. That's going to be done. Because he was emotionally abusive, so, and controlling. And I was like, red flag, red flag. I was like freaking soccer. Red flag. I just kept throwing them. But you had your rose-colored glasses on.
And now I'm just at an age where I'm desperate.
That's so sad. You deserve so much better.
You can deserve all you want, but that doesn't mean that what you deserve will present itself to you in your lifetime.
That's true, but there's
So
also
are you just gonna go without, or are you gonna take what you can?
I go without, and
If you're hungry, you're gonna eat.
Yeah, that's true. But also, this is where we differ, right? Because I agree with you 100%. Because I go without until I'm hungry, and then I hunt. That's the difference. Like I hunt for my prey, and you won't. You said it. You said I'm not doing that. So I'm not desperate. I pull 8s and 10s.
Yeah, but what you're hunting is a different
Yeah.
animal than what I'm hunting.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like there are ways to get those things, but you have to hold yourself up to a higher standard and be like, okay, you're not it. And when it's like those stupid cliches. When you stop looking, you find it. Like the one guy you thought I was going to be in a relationship with, I was not looking for him. And that ended up being a fairly regular situation. Because I just was like, man, I don't care. I'm here.
Yeah, but I want to care.
I know. But if you step out of your comfort zone, I cared about him. We're friends, him and I, right? And that's way more than I thought was going to happen. And so I think if I hate saying this because I'm not super religious, let go and let God, right? Then things will just happen.
But that does not jive with what you just said about you need to go and hunt. Well, which one is it?
Both.
That makes no sense.
When I said that I go without, that's when I'm like, meh, whatever. When I'm hungry, I hunt.
but even okay, even if you go without or whatever, that's when things come to you. In this world, things don't come to you that way. You have to be online in some type of forum to hunt. Like I can't just say, okay, I'm never going to get on a dating app and I'm not going to look for a man and he's just going to find me in my house watching Grey's Anatomy. That's not how it works.
Well, I mean, that's
Oh, I live here.
we kind of talked about it previously. If you spell it out like a moron could get it, right? Like, for example, looking for an emotional connection, no bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And then when you find out quickly, because when you chat with someone, you realize, like, you're an idiot. And you go, no thanks, and you stop talking to them.
The problem is that men lie to me. Like, I'll be like, I don't want to be with someone that does this, this, or this. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, no, that's fine. And then but like you said, I get attached. And then by the time I find out that they've lied, I'm attached. I'm in a relationship. I'm committed. And to me, the word commitment is so deep. It is like, I believe in like I've been married twice. I believe in marriage. I believe in a lifelong commitment. I believe in for better or worse. And I know I'm not married to everyone I'm in a relationship with. But when I use the word, the word altar, where people go get married on an altar, it's crazy because the definition of an altar is where you take things to die in sacrifice.
Yeah. Your singledom is sacrificed.
Right. But and people don't understand that, like, when you get married at the altar, your ego is supposed to die. Your pride should be sacrificed in death. Your singleness, gone. It is dead. It is burned. It's crispy, gone. You no longer exist. You are no longer autonomous. You are tied to another soul for eternity. And that's how I view commitment. Sure. So I have a really hard time walking away from shit. Also because I have fucking abandonment issues and attachment issues.
Dude.
So
yeah.
Fuck this podcast. Fuck this episode. This sucks. I'm going to go cry myself to sleep.
But that's why we're here. Like, this is what we do, right? That's the whole point. This will make us all better, Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if it will.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not going to lie. I keep thinking I want to put up an ad for you and find a dude. And, like, I'll vet them because I have no horse in this race. Because, like, I cut people out with extreme prejudice, okay? So it's like
okay, so just think about the men that you have interacted with in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Not people that you've known from your history or life.
Sure.
People that you've interacted with that you found, however you found them. How many of them finished their education? What percentage?
25%.
25. Okay, now I had a pool of 100%. Now out of 100 men, I'm down to 25.
But you asked me about mine. I wasn't looking for smart. I was looking for hot.
But still, I'm looking for hot too. I'm a hot dude.
I know. I'm just saying, like, but I mean, like, I go for, like,
that's the sample. The sample is 100 men, only 25 are left. Okay, out of those 25, how many of them don't smoke, don't vape, don't get high, and don't do any drugs?
Out of the 25%, if now 25 is 100%.
Yes.
50.
So now we're down to not 25 men, but 12 and a half men left. So out of 100 men, my pool is now 12 and a half men. Instantly, with just 2 standards. Okay, out of those men, how many of them are no more than 5 years from my own age?
None, but that's because my pool is less. I like them 28.
I mean, I like young guys too, but my experience has been that they don't have the emotional capacity to keep up with me.
Again, don't care, right? Like, I'm that person that's like, hey, pretty, shh, be quiet.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, the pool is 100, and now my pool is down to like 6. Right. And so now there's 6. Now comes the tricky part. Out of these 6 men, how many am I physically attracted to based on the qualities that I find attractive in a man?
Right.
0.7.
Well,
so what do I do?
Well, I don't know. See, because that's what's funny. Because the guy right? That snuck through all the weird whatever. He has a degree. He is 37, right? He has a good job. And he is fit, like goes to the gym.
Yeah.
He fits all of your stuff.
Except he's weird.
Why?
Because he's like nerdy weird, right?
Well, no, he wears glasses. But
Isn't that nerdy?
I like the glasses. I don't think he's
But
nerdy.
he also has the emotional capacity of,
No, he's
no?
very intelligent and like has good conversations.
Is he
I
funny?
just I think so. Like we've had like long conversations. I just tend to not care about that stuff. Like it would have worked way better for you because he lives in Indy and
It's funny because my girlfriend, her husband, and I get along so good, and she's always telling me the same thing. I married your husband, Tiffany.
yeah.
Like he's so for you, and I don't know how this happened. And the way it happened is, hey, he's really, really short, and I'm tall,
Yeah.
and so he was instantly. So that's the other thing. How many of these guys are
Oh,
over tall?
oh, see, and that's what's funny too because that's where, guys and we're
Well,
told
you're 2.5 feet tall, and I'm,
well, no,
five.
but I mean, women frequently are like, I need a tall guy.
But you see, and like, I don't support that. If you are an average or short woman, you don't fucking need a tall guy. I need a tall guy because I am 6 feet tall in heels.
Well, here's the other thing, though, that you're not considering. Guys like really short girls.
That's fucking stupid.
And so I can't tell you how many times guys are like, how tall are you? And I'm like, 5 feet. And they're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like it happens all the time.
Guys are perverts. That's why.
Oh, don't be judgy.
That's exactly why. I hate men. Men suck.
We've totally gone over time, but I hope everybody enjoys it.
So, yeah, today's episode, let's do a quick recap. Everybody cheats on me. Everybody fucking sucks.
Oh my gosh.
There's no good men left in the world.
Oh my God, if you are a good
And I'm
man.
tired of bringing the table.
Yeah.
I have to carry the table with me everywhere I go, and I hate it.
They have straps for that now.
Yeah, well.
I'm serious. Like if you go to
Just 'cause I
Sam's
can
Club,
carry it, don't mean it ain't heavy.
that's okay.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, think about whether or not you are Ward or June Cleaver, and is that who you want to be, or do you want to be the opposite? Are you in the gender role that you crave, or are you forced into one by your circumstances?
That's fair. I'd rather be Fran Drescher and the nanny and
Hey, fucking man. I'd rather be Megan Mullally, like you said, and
Will and
yeah,
Grace. Yeah,
Will and
that's
Grace,
that's
yeah.
that's legit. I'm not mad at it. Well, if
You
you
are
decide
laughing.
June or Ward, you can always email us at hardthingspodcast@gmail.com, or any of our social medias. Feel free to comment and or like and subscribe. We are hoping that we won't cut things short this time like we did last time, but life happens and things.
If we do, I'm gonna make OnlyFans, so you can find me there.
I doubt it. Right. Well, that's all from me and Tiffany. And so tune in next week and we'll pick up on if we hear anything back from you guys. And hope you enjoy. Have a good
Stay hard.
night. Stay hard.